fireside chat is going to take place now following the latter. I'm very honored to welcome on stage His Excellency, the Ambassador of the State of Israel, Mr. Noam Katz to the Hellenic Republic.
Thank you.
תודה רבה, אדוני השגריר. בבקשה, שב. It's been a truly interesting day following the discussions of the minister as well as the former head of the armed forces. I saw you taking some notes. I assume it's a positive highlight of the bilateral relationship, otherwise it wouldn't be the case. So let's begin our conversation. The United States and Israel have pulled the trigger this year and have confronted directly Iran. But this time, we have noticed a very dramatic effect to the countries of the region in comparison to last year, where the side effect was of a smaller scale. I've heard a million different politicians and representatives of the government in Israel and the US discussing about it. And my question is, which are eventually the strategic objectives of this operation, and whether in this period of couple weeks/months, Israel and the United States have achieved these objectives?
The Iranian regime is posing an unprecedented threat to regional and global peace and security. It's not something that started yesterday. It's a line that is growing since the Islamic Revolution in Tehran. And this Islamic regime put as prime objective the annihilation of the State of Israel, achieving hegemonial domination within the Middle East, and positioning itself on the global agenda as a force. And this regime is running an ongoing war against Israel for decades. So what you've seen in February is not a new war. It's an operation within a framework of an ongoing armed conflict with this regime. This regime built capacity that is threatening everybody. It has ballistic missiles that are covering the entire Europe. It has built a network of terror armies that are terrorizing the entire region, from the Houthis in Yemen to the Hezbollah in Lebanon to the militias in Iraq and in Syria, and of course the Hamas in Gaza. They have established a network of terrorism around the world that was operating in many of the countries. And on top of all this, this regime was building a military and nuclear program that will give him the power and the ability to achieve its goals. So we went this February on an operation, United States and Israel, to push back an imminent existential threat. We wanted to push back its military ballistic missile program and its military nuclear program, to the point that it will be very difficult for them to reignite them and to use them. They were on the verge of giving immunity to these programs by bringing them deep underground in Iran, which is beyond the capabilities of Israel and even of the United States to deal with them. They wanted the factories and the facilities all be buried underground. And that's why we went to this operation. So its objective was to push back an imminent threat, and I think that we did that. We also want that there will be a massive change in the Middle East. We believe that a massive change in the Middle East demands a change in Tehran, and we surely hope and we believe that the people of Iran that are suffering from this oppressive regime will have the opportunity for a change. And we think that the heat that this regime is suffering, and the process is not over yet, as you know, will bring to a change within Iran in the long run, not immediately. The objective, the immediate objective, was to push back imminent existential threat to the well-being, security of Israel and all the region, as was reflected by the massive attack of Iran on all its neighbors and by closing the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, absolutely. So from what you say, I understand that you have achieved your goal regarding the elimination of their ballistic capabilities. You have eliminated Iranian proxies in the region, from the Houthis to Hezbollah, which is a different story we'll discuss in a bit. What hasn't been sorted out yet, though, is the situation regarding the nuclear capabilities. We've heard Donald Trump saying that there is a high chance that they might proceed with a ground operation in order to remove uranium, take it where, not sure. I want to quote the Wall Street Journal earlier today, saying that recent talks between the US and Iran have achieved little progress. Question is, if little progress does not transform to big progress and a deal, especially regarding their nuclear capabilities, do you leave the door open, as the Prime Minister is saying, for a second round this year?
As I said before, everything will be measured by the objectives that were set by the President of the United States. And it is very clear that he has clear objectives, stated objectives about the nuclear capabilities of Iran. And he will measure the progress, limited progress, lot of progress in diplomatic efforts, and he is ready to invest in diplomatic efforts through that prism. So time will tell. But I think that it has to be clear that the objectives are very clear, and therefore what is needed is very clear, and also the gaps that exist today between the positions that are stated by the Iranian regime and to the American regime, the American president and administration are still very wide.
Okay, that's interesting. In this scenario, and again, based on the fact that Donald Trump has referred a few times to a potential ground operation in the future, I've read some reports that Israel has secretly built a base in the Middle East last year in order to support the operation of this year against Iran. So I was wondering, are you in a position where you could comment on this scenario of a potential ground operation?
I think you should ask the journalist that reported all these things, but it's clear that Israel is capable to defend itself and is ready to take action to defend itself as necessary.
Okay, let's go a bit to the proxies. After this war, I mean, this particular time of the year, do you feel more aware of the challenge or fully secure? And I'm asking this in the sense that, okay, the militias in the Middle East, I mean, the areas, Iraq and Syria, are a bit more eliminated. But Hezbollah in the north, the Lebanese government, according to what you are saying, has been totally incapable of clearing out the area from this threat.
So let's be frank about the results of the ongoing war that we are in since October 7th, since the attack of Hamas on Israel. Hamas is still standing in parts of Gaza. There is a ceasefire and a peace plan that was set by the American president that Israel joined the international community supporting. Just yesterday, a report was released by the Board of Peace that is claiming that the main obstacle still remains. It's the refusal of Hamas to disarm itself and to dismantle its military capacity. It's still there, it's much decimated and degraded, but it's a challenge that we will have to deal with in the future under the framework that was set by the American president. When we signed a ceasefire with Lebanon, the idea was that the Hezbollah, that was much degraded in its capacity, will be pushed back from the Israeli border. And that southern Lebanon will be free of Hezbollah dominance. The government of Lebanon claimed that it was achieved, as we've seen now, by Hezbollah joining the war on behalf of Iran against the best interest of the Lebanese government and the Lebanese people, is that we have to take care of that, and that's why we were operating extensively in Lebanon. In order to give Lebanon a chance, and I must emphasize, Israel and Lebanon are on the same side. We both understand that the Hezbollah, as an Iranian proxy, is a threat to Lebanon and its sovereignty. One thing is to strengthen the Lebanese government and its capabilities, and the other aspect of it is to reduce the power of the Hezbollah, part of it militarily, as we are doing, part of it by disconnecting it from the Iranian regime and its ability to reinforce and supply it, And thirdly is maybe by convincing the communities within Lebanon, including the Shiite community, that the Hezbollah is damaging their future and their prosperity. And I think that the combination of these two elements is important in order to secure the future of Lebanon. I strongly believe that we can reach an agreement eventually along the timeline with Lebanon.
Okay, and we'll talk in a bit about the ongoing peace negotiation and, peace arrangement process. Speaking of proxies, let's go to the Houthis in Yemen. There's been a lot of developments regarding the relationship of Israel, which is established with Somaliland. And it's kind of following a path that the United Arab Emirates have also, in some sense, established in the area. We see the two countries even closer lately. So my question is, are you in a position where you can tell us what we should expect next regarding Somaliland? Would you, I don't know.
I think that Somaliland is a rare example of functioning Muslim democracy, moderate and responsible in a very unstable region, in a very sensitive area to the world.
And a very strategic location also.
Sorry?
And a very strategic for you location
Yes.
also.
For everybody, because it's the other side of the Bab el-Mandeb. And this region is also torn by wars, by radical forces, by terrorist forces that are being supplied and supported by external forces. I think that all the countries around the world should accept reality. There is a functioning state, Somaliland, since 1991. And it's a force of stability, and we should help it. So that's why Israel established relations with Somaliland, which we think are beneficial. Just yesterday, the president of Somaliland announced that he will open an embassy in Jerusalem. And I think that this kind of relations are beneficial. It's time to go away and shy away from some of the old paradigms that are not supporting our interests and objectives. And I think that when you spoke about the Abraham Accord, that's exactly what it was. Arab countries and Israel found common ground for collaboration, for cooperation, for building relations, peaceful relations, that will change the Middle East. And they are changing the Middle East. The Abraham Accord stand in flying colors the test of war. It's not that we agree on everything, but it gives the pragmatic forces in our region a prospect of hope, of prosperity, of serving better the well-being of our own respected peoples.
Okay, and here we have a paradox. Iran, in this direction, has managed to bring together countries of the Middle East, something that diplomacy hasn't managed over decades. So the question that I was about to make was, is there a chance that we should expect new members in the Abraham Accord family? I will never forget the reports that Saudi Arabia was that close to joining the deal, and then October 7 took place, just leaving this here.
So it's not, it's quite obvious that the war in the region shaken the stability and the order within the region. What is clear, I think, to all the countries in the region, that the real threat to their well-being and security is Iran. Iran was attacking Saudi Arabia, it was attacking Kuwait, Qatar, the Emirates, even Oman, of course Turkey, Azerbaijan, maybe I forgot somebody, of course Israel.
Also to some extent Cyprus through their friends in Lebanon, Hezbollah.
Thank you for the addition. So Iran, just imagine what will be if Iran will be a nuclear power with the capability to destroy everything in the region. What we did is that the cost of the action is much limited compared to the cost of inaction. If you want to compare it to the time before World War II. Countries in Europe were reluctant to face the Nazi threat. France didn't intervene when Nazi forces penetrated in 1936 the Saar region. And the outcome was that Europe was dragged into a war of 5 years that was the most devastating war in world history. So Iran is a force, it's an engine of instability and brutality in our region. Not Iran, the Iranian regime, I must be accurate here. And therefore we must face it now. Otherwise, the payment will be much bigger.
Okay, so the door is always open for more countries to join the Abraham Accords, and let's see what will happen. Let's go back to Lebanon. You know, very historic discussions about peace taking place in Washington. Question is the following. You have illustrated in a very clear manner that you will operate in the southern part of Lebanon to clear out Hezbollah since the Lebanese government is not able to do so. How can both happen at the same time, peace and Israeli operations in the south of Lebanon?
Well, we are living in a complicated world, and it's not a world of black and white. It has a lot of gray in it. We would like, and we would like to have peace with Lebanon. We are discussing with Lebanon. We discussed in the past with Lebanon. We think that all the standing issues between the state of Lebanon and the state of Israel are solvable. We have a dogmatic, ideological, apocalyptic force within Lebanon that is serving foreign interest. And it's destroying the capability of Lebanon to function as a sovereign state. That's why we are pushing it backward, and we are giving a chance to the Lebanese government. So you have dual tracks that are going in parallel, that I hope that at one point in the future will yield positive results.
Okay, that's an interesting one. And let's move to something that the Greek audience would like to hear further, which is our bilateral relationship. We've been discussing about it for years. I remember as a student at university, we were taught about the strategic depth that Israel doesn't have, and then Greece and Cyprus actually offer this to the state of Israel. I'm just bringing this up to say that we're having a very strong bilateral relationship, and there is a lot of trust, rare trust, I would say, especially, you know, on your behalf. So where do we stand now compared to the point when you came to Greece first time as the ambassador of the State of Israel?
Well, it's an opportunity for me first to thank. He's not here. I think that he left as Minister of Health and Deputy President of Nea Demokratia for the warm support that he and belief that he had in our relations and in Israel. I think that our relations, you know, everybody now speaks about transactional relations. Our relations are not transactional. They are strategic partnership and friendship that is stemming from certain similarities between our societies, shared interests, and shared perspective of the challenges and opportunities that we have in the region. Israel and Greece are neighboring countries through the Mediterranean. You mentioned Cyprus. Cyprus is also one of a neighboring country through the Mediterranean with Israel. And together we have the ability to build something that will serve stability in the Middle East, will allow more prosperity for our people, and will answer some of the needs as part of world of security that every country needs. You spoke about strategic depth. Yes, Greece is part of the strategic depth of Israel. It's part of our supply chains, it's part of our relations with Europe. It allows us to do a lot of things, and you see that the relations are growing very deep and widening despite of the current turmoil period that we are in, because it's serving both of us. It's trade, it's tourism, it's defense, it's all aspects that you can think about.
And regarding the cooperation between the three nations, Greece, Cyprus, Israel, plus the United States, the well-known 3+1, there has been discussion since the era of Pompeo as the foreign secretary of the United States, if you remember, regarding the cooperation in the energy domain, as well as activities in countering any other malign activities, as they used to say. So how far could this scheme of cooperation go, in your opinion?
I think that it's almost conventional knowledge that energy is a lifeline of modern countries, societies, and culture. as neighboring countries and with some resources that exist in the Eastern Mediterranean, this collaboration is only natural. We would like to create connectivity. We would like to create corridors that will serve transportation through our region between the Indo-Pacific and Europe. I think that the current crisis in the Gulf is just strengthening the need to develop complementing and supplementing corridors that will allow transportation to fly. And when you speak about energy, it's not only the energy itself, it's the infrastructure, it's the freedom of maritime, and all these aspects that together, as three countries neighboring to the sea, we would like to develop. I think that we project, this collaboration is projecting stability to other places, and I would dare say that Greece is having such kind of relations also with Egypt, trilateral Cyprus, Greece, and Egypt. All these are part of stabilizing our own neighborhood.
Okay, and following our conversation with the former head of the armed forces, you know that there is a destabilizing force in the region. I mean, many, not just one. But as far as we are concerned, Turkey every now and then, you know, acts in a destabilizing sense.
Well, Turkey is an important country within our region, strong country within our region. Of course, we want it to be part of the structures, but unfortunately, the Turkish policy is unconstructive. They would like to change the status quo that is accepted for many years and recognized internationally. They would like to project some hegemony in our region. They are supporting some very radical elements, including Hamas, in our region. We think that this is unconstructive. We hope that it will be changed. We are not seeking friction. We would like to limit the friction and to build channels of collaboration. Unfortunately, from the point of view of the State of Israel, Turkey took the exact opposite path. We see them at the moment as a foe, as an adversary in our region that is destabilizing, and we hope that that will be changed.
I hear many similarities in the way that you analyze the situation between Iran in the past and Turkey nowadays. And correct me if I'm wrong, I can recall several statements of high officials of the country coming to take over and conquer Jerusalem or liberate it or whatever else. Honestly, how do you react to these statements?
Well, the statements are very bad, are unhelpful when they are coming from the Turkish side. We are not running our national interest or defense by statement. I think that we are capable to defend ourselves if somebody would like to translate some of these statements, but I don't think that this is the case at the moment. We see as a very positive development the influence of the United States within the Middle East, within, I would say, wide region and governments within the region that will help us maybe to lower tensions between partners in the region.
Okay, and two very snap questions since we're running out of time. Based on what's been going on geopolitically in the region and the situation in Gaza, there has been a spike in anti-Semitism all over the world. Do you feel that this can really pose a threat to the Israelis and Jewish communities overseas, I mean abroad?
Anti-Semitism is the most ancient form of group hate that exists. And it threatens not only us, it threatens the fabric of our societies. It's a threat to open society, to pluralistic societies. I don't think that Jewish communities around the world or the state of Israel are facing it alone. What happened is that the war allowed those elements that were suppressed since World War II to get certain freedom to be public again. And it's part also of the availability through modern technology, social networks, and technological connectivity. It is spreading much faster and much easier than in the past. We need to understand that this is a threat not only for us. We need to understand what is the difference between legitimate criticism, and I will be the first one that would say that we have differences of opinion in the world, and criticism on state policies is something that is acceptable, or on groups within societies. Having said that, there is a big difference between anti-Semitism that is demonizing, that is delegitimizing, that is judging one by double standards, and we need to understand the mechanism and to fight it. We have a lot of supporters, whether it's government support, governmental or European support within Europe, in the United States, and other places. And I hope that we will be able to face this wave and to win over that struggle.
And one last question for those who don't know that. His Excellency Noam Katz is leaving Greece pretty soon. So I was wondering if you could say a few words on what you will remember from our country, given your service here.
Wow. The first thing and the most important thing are the people. I think that, I wanted to come to Greece. It was a post that I asked for myself after many years in my career, diplomatic career, that I was asked to do certain jobs. And it exceeded all my expectation. I came here in a different time, and I found myself ambassador serving during wartime. Having said that, I think that the closeness of the people allowed us to not only to maintain and keep the relations going on, and I'm not speaking about governmental relations alone. I'm speaking about people to people, and I'm speaking about business community with business community, open society with open society, and all the interactions that are possible. So I think that the friendship that I found here and the Greek hospitality, which is not a legend, it's a true thing that we foreigners can feel here, is something that I will take with me. I was just doing our National Day, and I said that sometimes ambassadors, after a long time in their position, are becoming the ambassador of the host countries to their own government. And I think that there is a certain truth in it. I think that I made a lot of friends, and this friendship will be carried on into my next into the future and into my journey, professional journey, but of course not only the professional one. I really like it.
Thank you for the response, and we're certainly wishing you good luck. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of the State of Israel to Greece, Mr. Noam Katz. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.